Previously on the Lorekeepers.
Oh, you know, I've been alone for a long time now. I close my eyes and I can see glimpses of my old life, but so brief it doesn't feel real. I guess that's what it's like now. Equinox, that yellow-eyed bastard. He's got a power that I've never seen before, but we discovered he has a anchor to the telling. I don't know what the hell that means. But I'll leave that up to Marius and Azarex to find out. We were asked by Weaver to destroy a prison. Sounds like my kind of job. There's a place called the Nightmare Shrine. Fitting, considering I can't sleep lately. It held an anchor that it maintained, but we destroyed it. So that Advent wouldn't get their damned hands on it in the process. Though I lost another brother. You know, I don't often talk about it because I'm not a man of words, but... shit. I feel like a curse to these men. First, Raylan, and now, Card. That damned Equinox shot him. Through some time warp or some shit. And I had to suffer to know what was happening in front of me. I had to watch him die. I can't put into words how that feels. My chest feels hot. My breath gives way, and all I want to do is scream. Card was dying, and I couldn't do a damn thing about it. I made it to the top. Tried to find a solution. But we ended up fighting this, I don't know what you call it, a mammoth. Man, smoke, named Marshall Mist. Damn you, Card Kilgannon. That asshole. He stayed behind so we could get away. I keep telling myself it's just a vision. That it ain't real. That I'll wake up and everything will be fine. I watched as you jumped into that fire. You got the heart of a dragon, kid. And you fight like one, too. You will always be your brother. And I'll remember that face as long as I live. So, Card is dead. Another of this clan that I call family. Yeah. I'm a curse, all right. The Nightmare Shrine is destroyed, and we managed to escape to freedom. But when it fell, it shook far wide. Well, somehow we ended up in this cave. The cave. At first, I thought it was a dream. Another one of those nightmares drawn by loss. But this, nah. I can see Marius. And I can see Azarex. That silver skull staring me in the face. And on the wall, death and taxes written in blood. It's all a blur. It's just a vision. It's just a dream. It can't be real. Can it? Look, can we just Grim, can we just go back to the beginning? Can I rewrite this son of a bitch? I want my horde back. Raylan. Guard, I'm sorry.
And as you take a point of inspiration, Chad, you are whirling about feverishly. You are fighting to regain consciousness. Your senses are being overwhelmed by flashing images of Dragonborn that look much like you, but with vast wings sprouting from their back. For a moment, you imagine that it's raining all around you, not water, but blood pouring around all of you. You look across to Azarax and to Marius, and then you see nothing at all. Marius, you will wake up. You too had seen these flashing images, this vision, like a nightmare, garishly clinging to your thoughts as you awaken. You see this cave, you see it's covered in scorch marks. You see the vast silver and stone dragon skull before you, and the message in blood, death and taxes daubed upon the wall, surrounded by scorch marks. Also, it would appear that the entrance that you were thrown into by the avalanche caused by the destruction of the Nightmare Shrine has been utterly covered up. You have found this place, but you are trapped. Those are the things that overwhelm your mind as you return to consciousness. Marius, how are you feeling?
Not great. In a lot of pain. All kinds of pain. There are some broken bones, some pretty bad wounds. And he would wake up, and then it would all come back to him, flashing images of Card not coming with him, and he would see that he is not here. And I think that he would begin trying to understand how that happened. And then he would close his eyes and begin to control his breathing and try and take stock of the situation. They're not safe. He doesn't have time to grieve and time to deal with this at the moment. So realizing they're not safe, he would kind of look around and stand shakily, searching for any threats, first of all. Seeing death and taxes on the wall, he wonders if Taxes has seen that yet. And a part of him wants to wipe that away. He doesn't want Taxes to have to deal with this as well as Card being gone. But he decides that he's not going to, because he wouldn't want Taxes to do that for him. So he would just kind of stand slowly, leaning on what he realizes is Card's greatsword, to pull himself up and just take a breath.
Yeah, you do. And it's like your eyes are sort of adjusting to the very, very dim light. There appears to be some kind of incandescent glow exuding from this silver skull at the far end of this cave. But you're leaning there and your eyes drift across your friend's. Taxes is sort of rolling about as if caught by some fever. You also notice that Azarax is also awakening. Azarax, what's running through your mind while Marius deals with a gut punch of realizing that your friend didn't make it?
Azarax is numb. It's cold. His body's numb. But he's numb inside. I imagine flashing through his mind. He sees faces. Sees the face of Card with that wry smile. He sees the face of Ezekiel Raylan with a dashing confidence. He sees faces of people from his past, people he's known. His friend, a gutter snipe, Pepin the river rat. Sees his face. before he's consumed in a fire. He sees the face of his sister before she's run through by the sword of a town guardsman. People come into his life and people die. That's just what happens. And he's just numb. He stands up, he looks at the wall. I imagine that we see the sigils across the visor of Veritor, calculating, thinking. His mind is fine. He just feels empty and cold. But there's no discomfort there. As he looks around the room and perhaps walks over to investigate the glow at the south of this chamber.
Yeah, you do. You carefully step past Taxes that still appears to be sort of like experiencing some dream of some kind. Marius taking his breath as he's standing up. I'm going to need, first of all, Marius. In fact, no, actually, all of you, if you wouldn't mind doing a perception check, apart from Tax. So you two do one, not you, Taxes, because you're sort of in the clutches of this experience, shall we say.
Sorry, say that again. Do what?
Perception check, please. Sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry, didn't hear you.
Azarax is still very much taken with this gleaming dragon skull at the far end of the room. Marius, you notice something. You notice that there is maybe there's sort of some kind of like a bit of material, like a tassel or something that hangs from the hilt of the great sword, but you notice that it's moving slightly. The telltale sign of there being a slight breeze coming from one side of the cave. You turn and you see at first glance something that could very easily be missed, an alcove of some type tucked away in the corner of this cave.
He would like notice it, not say anything for a while. Not sure if this is the right time to leave. There seems to be nothing else here, and they've just woken up from how long of injury and misery. It might be good to like take stock and to rest. So he would like take note of it and kind of look in that direction. He'd take a few steps in that direction casually, as casual as he can, to just like see if it leads anywhere, but he won't say anything.
Yeah, casually taking a few steps so you can actually crane your neck around to look, and you see that it actually doesn't go anywhere. It actually just appears to be some kind of alcove in the side of the cave. But what is most alarming to you is that there appears to be a small camp setup. As you, Azarax, are approaching this vast dragon skull, you notice that whatever dreams or visions or flashing images you saw of this thing, its jaws were shut. Now, however, it is wide open. And there appears to be some kind of dark passageway leading into wherever you are. Taxes. You wake up. And you notice as you roll over, you had been shouting Grimm's name at one point throughout your the experience that you were going through. And you notice that Grimm had fallen from Azarax's belongings and had fallen open upon the floor. And you see upon the pages, scrawling in that familiar ink, chapter 12, Death and Taxes. You're awake, Taxes.
Probably the first thing that you hear when Taxis wakes up. The floor, the stone floor of this cave sort of looks like it is filled with like, or at least in the spot where he was rolling about, there seems to be like this oil slick of sweat that seems to have dripped out from his scales, this kerosene-like sweat that seems to be have exuded, and then all you hear is a scream.
What the hell? Where are we? Shit.
He's trying desperately to catch his breath, and he looks around like a feral dog, like, what's going on? Where are we? You know, and then he sees it. He sees where they are, and he just stops short.
It's almost become a habit of your lifestyle to wake up somewhere where you don't actually know where you are. For the first time in your existence, well, at least in the time that we've known Taxes, you remember somewhere. You remember this cave. For some reason, you don't fully recall what happened, but you see Death and Taxes scrawled in blood upon the wall, scorch marks and claw marks everywhere, and this vast dragon skull. And you make the same observation as Azarax. The mouth is now open. It appears to be beckoning with some strange, eerie aura that emanates from it. You've all made observations. You've all seen different things. Are you guys talking to each other, or is there still this shocked silence mixed with this, like I said before, this gut punch of grief?
I think the first thing, he doesn't see Marius at first, because Marius has walked over toward that alcove. He sees Azarax first. Taxes, looks to Azarax. He gets himself up off the ground. Shit. Of all the places in far wide, we had to land. Had to be here. What do you make of it? Because fuck if I know.
I imagine Azarax is standing there, his ethereal blue hand emanating a glow. And I imagine that there's an eerie blue light that shoots out of it, almost like a flashlight, as it washes over the features of this dragon skull. As he detects magic. And as he does so, I think that he would try to think back. He's a learned man. Does he... What would he know? Would he know anything about this place at all?
So, if you give me that, oh, you're doing detect magic, not Arcana. So, okay, I'll tell you first of all what you sense from it magically before what you know of it just off the top of your head. So, in terms of what you detect, it is eerily familiar from the recent experience of you being involved with the Nightmare Shrine. It seems like this place has been impacted by temporal forces. This feels brand new, but also thousands and thousands of years old. Like something has returned from being lost. And it doesn't feel quite right to you. From what you know off the top of your head, there isn't really much known about where the Dragonborn disappeared to. But if you give me a knowledge arcana roll, then we can see to what extent that knowledge goes more. I don't imagine much, considering you would have probably told Taxes by this point rather than keeping a secret like a bastard.
I think so, absolutely. Yeah. So I get advantage on Arcana rolls. So the first was an 11 plus 7 is 18.
Perfect. So you don't know so much about it in terms of it being linked with Dragonborn or dragons or anything like that, but you do recognize that, like the Lore Gate and like the Gate of Gar-El, this is a gate of some kind, a dragon gate.
And Azarax would give words to these realizations he would just speak them out, sort of mechanically, into the chamber. When Taxus approaches, he'll say, "A place lost in time has returned. It's a gate like the others we've seen. Other than that, I don't know."
Oh.
He looks around the room. Tax is sort of almost disappointed with your answer. Because even though it makes sense, it still doesn't give him answers.
I'm going to kill Weaver, Marius says. In the middle of your kind of thinking, he just like blurts it out as he's looking at the blowing of the wind a little bit in the camp.
Well, if you weren't going to, I was. So, I mean, I'm glad we're in agreement there. Jesus.
He looks to the wall. He sees that death and taxes written on the wall. He sees all the claw marks. And he looks to his hand. It's a long time since he's probably looked down at his hands. But he sees that talon ring that he has. This silver talon ring that he carried since the first time he was in Far Wide. And he puts it up to the wall, kind of looking at the claw marks and trying to get a semblance of memory. He closes his eyes and he puts his hands up against the wall into places on the wall where he feels like his claws might match the claws, just to sort of see if these were his doing or if this was like something way before his time.
It's a weird moment where you reach up your scaly hand, your claws out, and they fit perfectly into each groove. One large swipe across one of the larger parts of this wall of the cave. And you notice that your claw bearing the silver talon ring, that groove is slightly deeper, is actually perfect. You can tell that you would have been wearing it on the same finger. For all intents and purposes, this is like a fingerprint, your attack pattern, as it were. But a feral one completely divorced of any control whatsoever. You would have been going insane at making these patterns, put it that way.
Shit.
He smashes his fist against the side of the cave. I imagine making maybe a slight indentation into the stone.
I was here. It's here I did this. But I don't know why. And this...
He looks over to Marius.
As much as I want to kill Weaver, what'd you find? I need to know.
He's like pacing up and down. There's a camp here. Maybe he knew that this would happen.
The camp?
He's a Dragonborn, right?
Yeah.
He's the only one left apart from you.
But so was I, so...
Maybe he knew. Maybe this is why he wanted us to destroy this place. And you can tell that Marius is like taking these like paranoid fantasies about Weaver like further than ever. He doesn't seem rational. Like he's got like a wide-eyed look, like he's trying to blame.
Marius, I'm going to say something to you probably don't get often. I love you. So, do yourself a favor. And calm the hell down. Now, where is this camp? I need to see it before I rip this place apart.
Calm down, he says. Calm down. Yeah, calm down. Good idea. Yep, that's good. And he would like take a deep breath. The camp is here.
I imagine that they sort of walk around to this small alcove, and they see this camp, and this large lumbering Dragonborn sort of begins scrounging around this small campsite. And what do I find?
So it's interesting because I think, as Marius would have said those words like "calm down," yeah, calm down, gone to look. The first thing that any of you would spot, Marius would probably get first because it would send alarm bells ringing immediately. You look back through into this camp and you can see there's only a few choice items. There are a number of leather-bound books. There's a satchel which look to include different herbs and maybe even like some trivial spell ingredients. But also, there is a small trunk which is open. Within it holds a few different pieces of mystic knight armor of the Magisterium. So that sends your alarm bells ringing, Marius. But Taxes, you looking, being a kind of a survival expert, you can see that there had been a small fire, one that would have died about 8 hours ago. So you know that fire was lit 8 hours ago. So whoever was here, that's sort of the time frame that you're thinking about. Interestingly, there aren't any footsteps or markings. So that's what you all see.
Wait, come back.
What?
There's armor in that chest of the order that I once belonged to. So either they are here or something is here that defeated them. Either way, we need to not be seen.
I see what you're saying.
He takes a large whiff. He's down on the ground, feral, like sniffing in the scent of these like embers.
Yeah. They're not far out either. About half a day, if that. But
he looks to the now closed-in cave.
I don't think they're going to be coming back anytime soon. Now that we locked in here. So I guess my question to you three.
He sort of like gets himself up,
2.
rolls his shoulders.
Only 2.
Shit. Yeah. Only 2. And the question to you two, I guess, is look, we can't be seen here. If that wall of rubble comes down, if whoever is here comes back, we can't be seen here. That gate is open. I guess what I'm asking is, are you two willing to go into the unknown? Because I don't know what's going to be beyond that gate. But we certainly can't be here if what you're saying is right.
You would be confident that the amount of debris that hit you when you got taken by this avalanche down the mountainside as you watched the Nightmare Shrine detonate. You're confident that it would probably take, even if you could get into this cave or out of this cave, it would take a long time. So for the meantime, you could count yourselves safe on what rations you have, but basically, if you're going to rest, now's the time.
Yeah, Marius would kind of like nod slowly as Taxes is speaking, and he would say, I don't see what other choice we have, to be honest. I'm not keen to go through that dragon's skull, but I don't think we can go through this wall of rock either. But I'm not going through there until we are tactically effective, which we are currently not. And then he would just like thunk, sit down onto the ground. We will wait until we have rested, until I have knitted some of these bones back together, and then we can go.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if you're going to be... Oh, sorry, Chad, go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just going to say,
Yeah.
and then he like takes a hand, grabs the back of his shoulder, and actually like pops a dislocated shoulder back into place.
Yeah, that sounds about right. When we're all ready, I'll
He sniffs around.
fucking eat. You all just get yourself together.
Yeah, so you're able to rest. Will you be keeping watch, or are you all just going to crash out?
Azarax, I imagine as this conversation is going on, I imagine this glowing blue detecting hand washes over the campsite, washes over the chest and the supplies here, as well as the surrounding debris. Per detect magic, it'll detect any magic, but is blocked by a foot of stone. So if anyone was if anything was buried in a shallow manner, maybe I would detect it, otherwise not. And he would also turn to his companions and say, I'll keep watch. Both of you sleep. I am fine. I will watch.
Yeah, and as Azarax will be able to meditate, I suppose that's probably the best solution. So in that case, you are able to rest. You are able to exist in the calm after a terrible storm. There's a feeling between you all like maybe we shouldn't mention it. Who should talk about it first? The loss that you've experienced, the confusion. Azarax, you're meditating. You see the Nightmare Shrine once again. You see all of its different threats. You see Card's face one final time before you ran for the portal. It's almost like you're dreaming of a wall in front of you, something you can't break through, something you can't do anything about. What's going through your mind as you stay on watch, Azarax?
Azarax's body is fine, but his mind is exhausted. And I imagine that he seeks that trance that is the way of his people. And he's up in years. He knows how to find that void like an ocean of blackness that just extends forever. It's so comforting after the chaos of what we experienced. And he's at peace, except for these brief moments where there's a flash of golden light and Cod screaming and Azarax trying to cauterize the wound, and again, black. Nothing. A moment later, the roar of martial mist as he hammers his huge weapon down, and again, peace and tranquility. And I imagine that his rest goes on like that.
Sorry, I was muted. So you are staring into nothingness, and then suddenly the wall begins to shift beside you, opening, transforming. And standing there is a figure. Taylor, would you like to describe her, please?
There's a woman. She has hair that's silver. It almost glows in the darkness. Her skin is pale. At first glance, it might be pure white. But not quite. Her hair moves slightly, and you can see the point of an ear. Marius might feel a chill. He knows what she is. And she stands there with a weapon up. She has a curved blade, and she has just moved her hand across. You're the Lorekeepers.
There's a shimmer.
And he opened it.
There's a shimmer as Azarax's form twists and warps to, no, four of him. A thin black blade appears, shink, in the darkness. Present yourself. Who are you?
Are you afraid, Drow? Azarax, is it not?
It is indeed. I would be a fool not to be. But I know how to handle fear, he says as he takes a confident step forward.
Her eyes scan the cavern.
Your name? Your name!
What?
She looks over, hearing Marius jolt awake.
Yeah, Marius, you wake up to Azarax's word, your name! And you two taxes, there is unmistakably a moon elf standing in a gap where there once was a cave wall. Now behind this individual, you can see glimmering starlight. This individual is silhouetted, armed, and facing off against Azarax and his multiple forms. What do you say? What do you do?
Marius is like ready to like grab the hammer and teleport behind this enemy and smash its head in, and then he like sees that it's a moon elf and he just like stops and doesn't move.
God damn it, Azarax, what the hell are you on about? What? Here we are trying to rest and get. Doing here? What is? How'd you get here?
There's one more. Where's the other?
I'm afraid you just missed him. He's not here anymore. What? You don't get letters? You don't get memos? I'm pretty sure that, yeah. Well, history will remember him at least.
I have heard all about you. All three of you. I don't get letters, nothing quite that mundane. But I've heard.
You try all. Azarax reaches out a hand. His glowing blue hand shoots forward through the night, becoming larger and larger. It screams up into the air and clamps down over you, on top of you, like a cage of force around you. I'm going to cast Phantasmal Force, so we're going to need an intelligence saving throw.
Let us see if the dice are kind tonight.
The DC is 16.
Fail.
Okay, so this is an illusion, just so that everybody knows. And in fact, it exists only in your mind, so the other two wouldn't even be able to see this. But to you, it appears completely real. You can use an intelligence investigation check against that DC to try to discern whether or not it's real. It's not going to do any damage or anything, but it appears that there is this glowing blue hand like a cage surrounding you.
She looks at this cage and just moves her own hand, and it dissipates as she casts Dispel Magic. She says, "You underestimate the Rogue Arcane, and I am not your enemy."
Which?
You would speak to me, Witch Hunter?
I would speak at you, thing.
You do not get to. You slaughtered my people. You destroyed my home. You murdered my mother. You do not speak to me like that.
And he like goes to say something, and then he like has this like flashback of all the hammers smashing heads of moon elves, and just boom, 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 boom. Sees it all for a second, and he like closes his eyes tightly, trying to like shake them away, but isn't able to do so.
Are you proud of what you did, Witch Hunter? Proud that you vanquished the moon elves? My people were not a people of war. But you came with your armies and your swords, and you massacred them. Tell me, did you force the children to hold weapons so you could pretend you were facing a real foe? Or did you just slaughter them where they stood?
We slaughtered them where they stood. I
You
remember.
will not speak to me like that. And she slowly starts walking forward towards Marius. I should have your life for the genocide you have committed. I should kill you now.
You could try. I would recommend you don't. It's something I think about daily, hour to hour. I have deep regret over what happened all those years ago.
Your regret will not bring back my people.
No, it won't. You're right. It won't bring them back. There's no bringing them back. They're dead, all of them.
And by whose hand?
Mine, and many others. I don't pretend like this didn't happen. It did happen, but I cannot undo it. What I can do is try and be better from here on out, which is what I've been trying.
As Marius is saying this, Lise, you spot over his shoulder. You are looking into the depths of this cave, and you can see that something has changed. You've been here a while, a long while, yet the mouth of this dragon skull has never opened. It now is open behind them all.
She looks past Marius, almost ignoring him. And then she turns to Taxes, and then to Azarax, and directs her question to Azarax. How did you open it?
There's an intake of breath. Azrax most certainly underestimated this woman. We didn't.
I have been trying to open it for months. How did you open it? You have to tell me.
Perhaps something of our doing, yes, that makes sense. He turns his head. Assassins are wily, he thinks to himself. Doppelgangers are wilier. Well, you know we are the Lorekeepers. You know we command the power of the telling. And that power has grown. It has grown vast. Feel, I'm sure you can, being an arcanist, you can feel the thrum of power from us, something beyond the arcane or divine.
She's nodding.
Weave themselves where we walk. The world reshapes itself to our will. If we want this portal open, it will be open. He brags and lies.
We also have a Dragonborn with us. And it's a dragon's head, Marius says helpfully.
Lise doesn't even turn to acknowledge it. She's still looking at Azrax. Yes, there is something different. You asked for my name. I'm Sarah Lise. You may call me Lise. As I said, I've been here for some time.
Azrax at the campsite. That's Mystic Knight armor there.
Well, the Rogue Arcane isn't the only ones who are interested in the Dragon Gate. And when a few scouts got within a day's journey or so of this place, I saw to it that they didn't make any reports back.
I think it's then that Taxes speaks up. And he just says one thing. Thank you. You gave me time. Time to figure all this shit out.
I beg your pardon?
Look, little lady, it's a long story. I can't exactly explain it to you. My name, you know my name. It's Taxes. But I don't know much more than that. So I've been having dreams about this damned place for as long as I can remember. And so you're telling me you've been here for how long?
Voss, Vega, Score, Vega. 2.5 months, give or take.
And it hadn't opened until now.
No, I tried everything. The Rogue Arcane sent me. They thought I might be able to do it.
And there's this sort of not half-hearted clap, but he's just exhausted. He's just frustrated.
Well. I'm so glad that we now have an arcane on our side that will open up this gate for us and allow us to walk inside. Look, I don't know what the hell is in there, but if I am any evidence, I don't think you want to walk into that gate.
I don't have another choice.
Oh, actually, you do. You do. It's called living your life. This is
My
my
life?
burden to bear.
My life, the family, the people that were stolen from me.
And you can hear that he actually starts to laugh, and it's weird and it's creepy and it's like disgusting because he starts to like bellow laugh.
Don't you dare talk to me about losing your family, all right? There is nothing up here anymore. Just glimpses and little tiny fragments. So I'm sorry. Oh, you want to play games with me? You want to talk about who's lost what? Go ahead. Because by the time you're done, I'll have elf blood on this wall now.
She studies you. You are not the only one in the world to have lost. But it does not negate your pain.
Look, I'm sorry. We've all lost a lot of people. All right? I don't know you. Because I don't know you, I don't trust you.
And we're agreed on that.
Yeah, we are. So, I'm going to give you an option.
And he looks to Marius.
And those of the Lorekeepers are willing to say their piece. But I don't have an issue with elves, as far as I know. I don't have an issue with drow, as far as I know, and I don't have an issue with humans, as far as I know. So I'm going to give you an offer. And maybe this is just me having my delusional, half-assed brain going on right now. I don't kill you. You come with us. Through the mall. You come with us through the gate. Because, hell, I'm not going back anytime soon. Your choice. But, I'm giving you an out. Marius, on the other hand, might not.
What does Marius have to say about this?
He like watched that exchange, like he's like tired, and he like rolled his eyes. It's like the gate opened because we brought a Dragonborn, one of the only two that exist. It's like so clear to him, and they're like arguing about how they did it, and he's like, for God's sake, fucking wizards. And he's just like sick of it, and he's sitting here waiting, and now he's like, okay, we're gonna bring this one with us when she threatened to kill Marius moments ago, and he's like, oh, for God's sake. So he just like rubs his hand over his face. All right, listen, here's the situation. I have no ill will towards you, elf, but you have some towards me. But I can promise you that if you try to kill me, I will kill you first. You wouldn't be the first of your kind to fall to this hammer.
He looks you up and down, looks Taxes up and down, and takes in your bloodied, exhausted state, and almost half smiles. If you say so. Perhaps you might win. But I suspect if I were to try my luck now, you would not survive.
Try it.
Don't try it.
Oh, Jesus, Marius, put your sword back in your pants, you goddamn asshole.
I have spent my entire life honing my skills to kill the rogue arcane, in fact, specifically.
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Look, I don't want to kill you. I have no problem with you. But I'm saying that if you make this a problem, and if you try to hurt me, then I will kill you. I've got enough guilt up there already. What's another extra bit?
Taxes looks around the room, and it's like this moment of realization. He goes,
all right. Well, looks like we're all in agreement then. I'm going to go back to sleep for a little bit, rest my muscles, get my brain right. You two try to kill each other, I'll burn this entire cave to the ground.
Okay, now that we've established that everyone can kill everyone else, why the fuck do you want to go through that gate?
Me.
Because in case you haven't noticed, there's a war. And people are dying. And Advent is winning. And the Rogue Arcane, we're fighting as best we can, but the balance is off. It was thrown off time and time again. Perhaps if the Luan were still here, if my people were still here, it would make a difference. But they aren't. But maybe if we could find the Dragonborn and bring them back, we might have a better chance. Or if there's something they left behind, some knowledge that could help us. I have to go through. We're not the only ones fighting.
Aetherx lets the words sink in. Can such altruism exist in this world? It's hard for him to believe, but this woman's words seem to ring true. He nods. Well, I will continue to keep watch, and you will walk ahead of me. I'll keep my eye on you. I've lost too many people. It's just the way it's going to be. I agree with you, Texas. I will allow this person to come with us. And if what you say is true, our motivations are the same. But we don't know you. And I like you, have seen too many people killed.
Very well. My one condition is that Azrax, you and I walk in the back.
Okay. Azrax sits back down in his spot and goes back down. into his trance, but I'm sure that any elf could tell that he's not really meditating, even though, he's got the visor of Veritor over his eyes. He's not going to get any more rest.
And as you are settling down, everyone seems uneasy with this arrival, with this individual who just moved stone out of the way with, you don't know how, but it just happened, and it's peculiar. Azarax, you are settling down as if to pretend to meditate at least. And there is a faint glimmering at your side.
He stands up. Normally I would urinate in the corner, but there's a lady in the presence, so he'll walk off to the side. He doesn't want this person to see Grim. We've been fucking attacked by doppelgangers and horrible shit's happened to us. Like, not enough.
You can almost hear the eye roll.
But that's the weird thing, Azarax, as you excuse yourselves and you go and you're looking sort of up through the gap that Lise had made to enter this cave. And you look behind you and you notice that Grim is still on the floor in the middle of the cave. You're looking into your belongings and something else is shining. 3 clear stones upon a medallion that gleam like the moons. And that is where we're going to take a short break to say hello. Welcome, everyone, to Lorekeepers, Chapter 12, Death and Taxes. And first of all, I would like to say a big, warm welcome to Taylor, our new player, our new player 4. As always, we're just going to go around and introduce ourselves, say hi, and then we're going to take a short break. Taylor, why don't you start? How's it going? How you doing?
It's great. Glad to be joining, jumping in on this. Binged watched Lorekeepers once I found out about it, and I'm really excited.
We're really glad to
I'm just
have
really
you.
excited.
I will explain, because of scheduling getting in the way of, I knew that there was going to be this slot opening up at some point, and Taylor kept talking to me about Lorekeepers, and I was like, well, at least this is someone that knows the setting who is also a phenomenal player. So I'm really happy to have you, and thank you very much for joining us. Chris, how's it going, man?
Man, it's going great. That intro, your intro was absolutely unfucking believable. It was so good. And then when you jumped in, I was like, holy shit, what is happening? What the fuck is happening? It was awesome. That story about you fucking put Marius through the ringer. Oh my God, that was amazing. Very happy to have you on board. My name is Lorekeepers, and I love this game.
Nice one, man. Lloyd, how you doing, man?
Great, good. I'm glad that Taylor's playing. That's really nice. And you're gonna have such a hard time. Marius is not kind to your people, by which I mean wizard, not elf. Like he was like forced to be shitty to elves, but he's like naturally inclined to be shitty to wizards. It took him a long time with Azarax. So yeah, I think it's gonna be really interesting, and I'm really glad. I've loved the game so far, and that intro was baller, Chad. Well done.
It was. And speaking of the man of the hour himself, Chad, man, how you doing?
Dude, I got to tell you, I don't think I've ever in any of our sessions been so tense, because I was tense at the intro and I'm still tense now. Like every part of me is still super jazzed and super like tight right now. This is awesome. This is amazing. I am so happy to have Taylor be a part of this. Also, bringing out the elves, like, this is cool, because I think now it's like Dragonborn, drow, humans, elves. Like, what? Now I feel like we're completing the gambit, and it feels good. It feels awesome. Keeper, that's good, because you should just keep it going for another year. I'm good with that. Like, I'll play as long as you want. Let's do it.
Okay, cool, man. Yeah, and speaking of tension, yeah, I mean, when I was talking to Taylor about this character, which was like thinking about it towards the end of the summer, like it was a long time ago that we started talking about this, so we've had to keep it quiet for a long time. But the idea of there being a moon elf, and obviously with Marius's history with moon elves, so that was going to be a big source of tension, which I was like, oh yeah, that's fantastic. And then only did I realize as we just played that out that no, this is going to be really tense, and it's going to be really dangerous and a really heated conversation. And but I really enjoyed it. It was sort of that sit back and just watch kind of moments, and sort of be like terrified for you all. But no, I really enjoyed that. So guys, thank you for joining me today, and for those of you watching, thanks for watching. We're going to take a short break, guys. Grab yourself a drink, grab yourself something to eat, around 5 minutes, and we will continue. See you in a bit then. Hello, everyone. How's it going? So there we have it. A new Lorekeeper. Very exciting stuff. Let's have a look at the chat.
I absolutely called it.
Did you actually?
After the last game, I was like, I bet it's going to be a woman. And then most recently, I said, I bet it's going to be Taylor. Called it.
Well, look, I mean, it had to be. Well, one, I'm glad it is a woman. And also, I'm glad it's Taylor, because Taylor's one of the best players I know.
No way of complaint. I'm just saying that I called it.
No, that's cool, man. Like, but we had been talking about it for ages, and bless Taylor. Taylor was having to keep it quiet for a long time.
That's it.
Also, Rob, before the game, just so everybody at home knows, before the game, Rob was like, I don't know about this session. It's going to be weird. There's only 3. Like,
Yeah.
you motherfucker. Like,
Hamming it up.
you did good.
Thanks, man. Yeah, no, it was good fun. I was a bit worried because like it was involving like the hangout, drop into the hangout surprise kind of thing. and that's never happened in one of my games. People have only left the hangout, like in surprise, not entering it. So I was like, I wonder how long that's going to take and if we can time it right. But it actually went really well, so that was quite good. So nice one, Taylor, on the timing. So what are our thoughts then? Like, because like this, for me, it already seems like there's a different energy to it. I don't know whether it's because we're playing at a different time, in addition to us having a brand new player. There's something feels sort of different.
I think it's great. I think that it's awesome. I'm really excited. I'm glad that we have a fourth person. I'm glad that it's you, Taylor. And I feel like that was a really cool way to introduce a new player because none of us knew that we had another person coming in. Like, I think a lot of us thought maybe at some point we'd have someone, but maybe Lloyd does because Lloyd is fucking smart. But I didn't know him. I mean, but I don't think Chad knew either.
No.
It's funny, there was a bit of a weird, like, and I liked it because I think, like, our friend just died, right? So there's, like, this weird, stilted conversation between everyone where no one wants to bring it up, you know? Thought that was really good, like, the opening here. There was all just like, yep, let's just do the work and pretend like everything's fine.
I noticed that as well. Yeah, we've had a few heavy sessions, to be honest, and I think that Lee's showing up at that point has kind of sort of put like a plug on the grieving process. Like you've been stopped, you've been denied that because there's this new person that's come in. So you don't want to sort of drop your guard, and to speak about card, I think all of you probably would be dropping your guard. I don't know. It just, yeah, it's a weird one to be sure. Excited to see where we go from here, though. And finally, some Rogue Arcane. The Rogue Arcane have been mentioned a few times. I think maybe Azarax would have brushed shoulders with some of them, but probably not in Farwide, but elsewhere maybe.
I'm sure that it happened at some point. I think that probably Azarax would probably pretend to be the Rogue Arcane to scare people, but like he's way more of a hedge wizard when it comes right down to it. Like,
yeah, man, yeah, definitely. Okay, so Chad's back. Are we all ready to go, guys?
Hoorah!
Hoorah! Okay. So you all complete whatever rest you manage to get, and you pack up your provisions. Lease your campsite is basically how you left it. A number of your belongings that wouldn't have been required to take with you when taking out Mystic Nights or hunting down food for yourself is still there. So you're able to pack up. What's going through your mind as you've run into people that you've heard of? The story of the Lorekeepers has begun to spread through Farwide, and as we've begun to discover more and more, there aren't many people that go around in the company of both a drow and a dragonborn. So they're quite easy to spot, or at least know who they were. But what's it like? What's going through her head as you've kind of allied with these people for the time being?
Lisa's kind of checking all her gear, making sure everything's gonna fit right and fit into the pack, and she keeps thinking about Taxes first and his anger. And she feels like she understands it. She has that kind of anger too. And she's not ever seen a Dragonborn before. It's one thing to get updates, to hear about the Dragonborn, but oh, he's huge. He's bigger than, I mean, you know, people said he was 10 feet tall and she knew he wasn't, but she didn't think he was going to be as massive and as alien as he is. Just so different than anything she'd seen. But at the same time, that emotion is something she relates to. And then there's Azarax, who there's a distinct kinship with. The magic user, the drow, you know, they have the same ancestors. She likes Azarax, just inherently. And she understands his caution. And then there's Marius. And she kind of would cast a glance sideways at him and purse her lips. And she's remembering telling these different almost mantras to herself about the balance and the light and the dark. And they cycle through and they come around, and the dark always leads to the light, and the balance is always restored. That's how the world works. She kind of tells herself, it's not my place to fix that balance. She decides she couldn't extract vengeance. Not on one man. Not for the death of thousands. And she doesn't say anything. She just keeps packing things up.
Yeah, it isn't long before you're already the maw of this draconic skull before you, calling you almost, particularly taxes. You aren't able to quiet your mind at all. All you can think about is what's beyond those jaws. So, like a traditional game of D&D, I would like a marching order, please. Who's going in first?
I think it's only appropriate that that Taxis is so anxious to see this. Like, he's scared, and I think it doesn't show because he puts on these airs that, like, it's going to be okay. At least I'm finally getting some resolution. I'm finally getting something. So he puts on this air of, I'm going to be strong about this. But inside, he's kind of shaking. He's kind of fearful for what he might see on the other side. Like, imagine you think of yourself as a relatively good person. But imagine if you looked in the mirror and then you saw the monster that particularly might be there. This is that scenario of him staring in that mirror, walking through and getting to see, like, what might be beyond that.
Excellent. So Taxes goes into full serpentine mode, as we now lovely refer to it, into the jaws first. Who follows him? Next. Hopefully you all follow him, but who's going next?
Marius is keen to keep eyes on the newcomer. He thinks that she's a doppelganger, probably. That's happened before, and so he's totally unwilling to walk in front of her.
It's this awkward standoff because she has no faith that he wouldn't just stab her in the back. And so she's kind of waiting for him to go next after Taxis has already disappeared. And she just gives him this meaningful look and...
After you.
I'm staying in the back with Azarex.
And he'd like pinch the bridge of his nose. Why would we put our two most vulnerable people at the back? Why would we do that? Imagine a turtle that has a shell, and in the middle of that shell there's a hole. That's what you're suggesting. You and Azarex go in the middle.
If you think I'm vulnerable...
I do.
Perhaps you should check the trunk again and see the 5 Mystic Knight helms.
Mystic Knights. A Mystic Knight is, to me, like a little lapdog to a wolf.
Look, Azarex shakes his head. He turns to the newcomer. He says, Lise, right? You like to be called Lise. Is that correct?
It will do, yes.
You know of us, the Lorekeepers. You will know a lot about Marius. You will know he is a man of his word. So, I propose we go next, and I'm sure that Marius will be willing to swear that he will not strike you as long as you do not betray us. He is a man of his word.
Well, Witch Hunter?
Sounds agreeable. I swear that I will not attack you unless you in some way betray us.
Okay.
Fair enough. And she'll walk in after taxes.
Yeah, Maris, as you're the last to go in, maybe you take a deep breath and pause for a moment before you go in. It's really uncomfortable, right?
Yeah, he hates it. He wants to sit down and have a rest. He's so goddamn tired. He doesn't want to go into this place, walking through the head of a dragon. It's all just bonkers. He just wants to go home. He's had enough of it. And so he would just like and follow.
Yeah, and the last thing you see, you're sort of glimpsing the exit that Lise had created in breaking way through the avalanche to get to you in the first place. There is a way out, but rather you decide to go with your friends. You are all winding down this cave path that appears to have a steep-ish incline downwards. It appears like you're winding through the mountain. It appears to still have this ethereal sort of silvery glow, like the wall is coated in some kind of strange mineral almost. You find yourselves going deeper and deeper and deeper into the mountains. And then the cave sort of opens up and it becomes much wider, so each of you can stand next to each other abreast. And you're beginning to see strange carvings upon the walls. You see hunched reptilian figures scratched into the walls. Almost like hieroglyphics. They all portray a story of different natures. And on closer inspection, you see that these carvings are incredibly old. Very old. And you see that the cave itself is stretching out and appears to be opening wider and wider and wider as it suddenly begins to sort of lift up a little bit. Your path before you. Is there anything you wish to do before you continue, any of you?
I think the taxes coming in and then seeing, it's like he's absorbing it, like putting every inch of this cave, every inch of, or every scratch on the wall, he's putting it pen to paper in his brain so that he doesn't forget, so that he doesn't lose it when he leaves. And he wishes for a minute that he had like a journal or something that he could scroll with, but he's not like that. It's more photographic memory. Something that like he has to hold on to these memories this time. So as he's going down the line, he's looking at the walls, and you said like lineage upon lineage of these stories and hieroglyphs of things. Is there anything that particularly stands out to him that might make him stop in his tracks as he's going down these walls?
There appears to be a number of Dragonborn-like figures reaching out like that with claws. And you see a number of them sort of crouched as if kneeling. This strange, almost effect carved into the wall to make it look like light is shining upon them. and there is one Dragonborn that is separate from them, facing the other way. Azarax, you are finding it incredibly difficult to hide the fact that something is shining brightly on your person.
I imagine that there's probably like some awkwardness where he sees the glow and he keeps trying to shield it from Lise. And I imagine that he'll move to the side and sort of so that his satchel is behind him, and he'll say, "No, please, after you." It's probably evident after a little while that something's up. And to make matters worse, I imagine that as we're rounding the corner into this chamber, Lise would see on Azarax's good hand, she would see him hold his pinky up to his mouth, and she would see a coil of copper wire around it. Any wizard would instantly know that he's casting the message spell to secretly send a message to his companions. And I think in both, one after the other, in both Marius's and in Taxus's mind, they would hear him say, "She's the one. She is the heir."
And Marius would like say out loud, because he's an idiot, but she's not even human.
No, I'm not. I'm half human, but I consider myself a moon elf. Thank you very much.
And then Marius would like stop walking, and he would just like begin to chuckle, like.
Tell me, Lise. Maybe you can elucidate me to something. Is there not a prophecy of your people about the 3 moons and a chosen one who is has the right to rule? I figure there's going to be quite a long walk. Is there something like that in your lore?
To rule what?
Well, I mean, that's why I'm asking you.
There is a rumble that echoes through the cave. Loudly, as if drowning your words. A few rocks fall from the ceiling.
Maybe we should talk later and walk a little faster.
Okay.
You press on.
Rob, just real quick, in addition to the pictograms on the wall, is there actual like writing, or is it just story and pictures?
It appears to all just be in pictures.
Would I know anything? I mean, Azarax, it just gives it a cursory glance as we're walking just to see if it jogs his memory. I don't know if this is like a story lost to time or if it's something that he would know about.
You can... I'll tell you what, if you give me an Arcana roll, it won't be something that you're aware of, but it's something you might be able to work out from the picture, if that's okay, if you give me a roll.
Absolutely. I'll roll a not advantage because I think he'd be distracted on the way, so I'll just roll regular.
Okay, it's up to you.
Oh, that's a 19 on the die, so...
Yeah, so it's interesting. You're looking at where the carvings begin on the wall. It's all of a sudden it's like they're there. Isn't like anything builds up to it or in a frame, but you notice, you look, and it's almost like the arcane sigils within the visor of Veritor target onto something on where the cave begins to open up. You notice that the rock is different. One appears to be sedimentary, and then there is almost like a seam, a line, a fuse mark, where sedimentary rock becomes igneous, this black kind of rock. It's almost like this part of a cave network has just been mashed somewhere it doesn't belong. And that is what dominates your thoughts rather than the actual carvings themselves.
And Azrax would give words to that. It's so strange. I don't know if that has something to do with the rumblings, but look, it's been smooshed together somehow. Ah,
It's all rocks. I don't understand. What?
Even rocks can be unique, Witch Hunter. Nature, not something to be ignored.
At that, like, I think Taxes takes a moment to sort of come back toward the group, and he looks at this thing, that this moment of the separation, almost like where two plates or two mountains sort of collide into one another, but it's like a perfect seam. He looks at it for a moment. Would he know what to make of that, Rob? Would he know? Would something jog his memory that he would know about that?
The only thing that you can think of is something that you're reminded of from your feverish dreams and the experiences that you all underwent within the Nightmare Shrine. You know, it was linked to different places. You're getting sort of the same feeling from this cave as you did when you were walking through those halls. Like, something isn't right. This doesn't belong here. But apart from that, not really.
He sniffs the wall, like, just really one of those almost feral curiosity.
Stay on your guard. I got no idea what's gonna be down here. But it doesn't feel good.
As you take that sniff, your Dragonborn heightened senses can almost taste a crisp air, clean, like a spring morning coming from further down the cave. If, Taxes, you are continuing to lead the way, this cave opens up and it begins to steep up at a rapid incline until all of a sudden it opens, and before you all, you see a sweeping, gorgeous landscape. Long grass moves in the rhythm of the wind. You see mountains in the far distance and sweeping dales. You see ice-cold lakes with a shimmering mist before you. But in front of all of this is a large, midnight black river that blocks your path. You're sort of coming out of this cave entrance and you see that you're sort of in these mottes that are sort of like these overgrown sort of escarpment hill-like things. And this black river is crested with a thick layer of mist rolling across it. The thing that jumps to all of your minds, probably the first of all, is that there isn't any snow. Far wide, especially the southern wastes at this time, have been covered in snow. Now you've exited this cave, it's almost like you're not there at all. At least you're looking up at the sky. There are the shadows of what would have been 3 moons. You know, when the day is coming to an end or whatever, you can still sort of see them. Or in the first thing in the morning, there are 3 hanging in the sky. But what you see before you is a crisp morning. besides the foreboding river that blocks your way from this landscape. Azarax, what are you thinking?
Azarax is looking around this place. He remembers the strangeness of the sort of alien feel of the magic surrounding the portal. The strange shift in time. And he wonders how much of that is similar to the Nightmare Shrine. So I imagine he would probably kneel down next to the bank and perhaps, you said that there's no snow. Is there like dirt or silt on the bank?
Yeah, absolutely there is. It seems like almost like a paradise, apart from like I say, the foreboding river. But yeah, you're able to grab up some silt, some soil. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll drop it down into the water. He's basically just looking to see if there's any of this the strange temporal anomalies where time passed so slowly in the past place we were at. Are we still in something like that?
So are you rolling for a particular spell, or are you just looking at the dirt?
No, he's not. He's no, he's not making a spell or anything.
No, there's nothing you can really tell from the soil. It seems really nice, and it doesn't seem like the kind of soil that would have been in the southern wastes of Farwide, particularly, where not much grows. This seems bountiful. The river that stretches before you is this weird feeling. It doesn't seem right. It's almost kind of ethereal. Everywhere that you look seems kind of ethereal and strange.
I think the spell glove would flare up. And Lisa, I don't know if you've seen it before, but you would see that the rumors are true. Azarax's left hand is this ethereal mage hand that acts as an appendage. You could see the 8 glowing sigils of the 8 different schools of magic swirling around in the center. And as he holds it out, you can see a ray of divination magic shoot out from it. And he's just going to try to detect magic all around us to see this whole place seems magical. So he's trying to glean whatever information he can.
And it's almost overwhelming to you. This place is exuding magical power. But strangely, you know enough about the forces of the arcane to recognize that there are all sorts of different elements that make up the great powers that are focused into the 8 schools of magic. This feeling that you're getting all seems to lead back into one thing, one source of magical power. What, you can't explain, but it appears like this all came from one place.
Is it, does it permeate everything, or is it like sucking to a certain location?
It seems to permeate everything from what you could tell, but further examination may help you, but at this stage, you're not too sure.
Yeah, he would give words to those thoughts and let everybody know that, and say, I don't know if this place is magical itself or held together by magic, or if we are in another time, made to be here by the arcane forces. It is beyond me.
Lise, you're somewhat focused and attuned to the natural world. What do you think's going through Lisa's mind at this point?
Lise can sense that something isn't right. It's not where it ought to be. Something is unusual, and she keeps looking around, kind of studying. Does the shape of the kind of the plateau and the valley between the mountains make sense with the river? Are the moons in the right spot? Is it real, or is it something that's different, something that's wrong?
It's almost like when you look up at where the moons would be, although it is day, there's still, like I say, the shadow of them there as it's early morning. It's almost like if you were looking at the moons, but you were looking at their reflection rather than the moons themselves.
And can she still sense them in the same way?
Yes.
She keeps staring at them and just kind of shaking her head. Things feel right, but they don't look quite right. I'm not sure. Something is different here. You can feel it too, can't you, Azrax?
Yes. I don't know what it is. Azrax would turn to Taxes. It's, have you ever seen anything like this, my friend?
And for a moment, you just see Taxes standing at the top of that plateau, looking out along the black river and at the possible the other side. Does he feel anything?
Yeah, so you are looking at this river.
Just vast expanse, feelings or visions for him?
Yeah, sorry, I think we went out of sync for a second there. Yeah, yes, sort of. It's almost like a void in you. You're looking at this thing and you swear you've seen this this black river with this mist pouring across it. Did you see it in the telling? Is it something that you don't fully remember from a life that you once had? It's hard to explain. But as you were looking out into the mist, you get this pang in your heart as you see something again. Do I recognize this sight? Am I seeing this for the first time? Or is it just like a memory? Because through the mist, you see that there is a pronounced dragon head moving towards you. You were all of a sudden startled, but then you realize that this isn't a dragon that is before you, but the prow of a boat, a small ship that stops just short of the riverbank, a few away down from where you're standing. There appears to be a figure upon it who sort of puts down this ramp and stands upon the shore.
Taxes says nothing in response to Azrax and just follows with his eyes this boat now until it comes to rest at the shore and drops the ramp.
I think they were expecting us. Whatever it is.
He looks down the shore, like motions toward the boat. And slightly afraid, but not daring to show it, he rolls his shoulders, gets out from his feral position, now standing at his humanoid height, walks on two legs and walks toward the boat, his tail kind of flicking back and forth and then he looks to Marius as he turns his head.
What do you make of it?
Since when are we getting on boats on rivers without thinking about what's happening? Have you lost your fucking mind? What is going on? Am I the only one who is trying to keep it together? Since when do we just walk up to strangers and get on their boats? What the What? Get over here!
And then that's the moment where he stops. He gets about halfway to the ramp. The three of you are still sort of gathered at that plateau area. He stops and he clutches his fists as tight as he can. And sort of begrudgingly walks back to the three of you.
Marius, I like you. I want answers. I don't know if this is going to give me any. But that's an opportunity.
Okay, I understand. But there is a strange boat that has appeared from nowhere. What's this person like, Rob?
So from where you're standing, it's hard to tell. The mist is sort of curling around their lower half. You can see this individual appears to be cloaked and hunched, and you can see an alarming amount of what you think look like dreadlocks kind of just like coming out from this hood, sort of hunched like that.
So it looks trustworthy, right? That's what I'm getting.
So trustworthy. Like, you're like, it'll be fine. No, it looks as suspicious as all get out, man. It looks weird.
Taxes. Let's scout the situation and then decide.
As soon as you say the words scout the situation, he hates you. You son of a bitch. He hates you with everything. Because as a hunter, he knows you're right.
God damn it, Mary. Son of a bitch. Fine. Well, I mean, what do you want to do?
Witch Hunter, if you are too afraid, you can stay behind and I will accompany Taxes.
How far is the boat?
It's like 50 yards, not far.
What's a yard in terms of feet?
Oh, okay. So, okay. Yeah,
Feet.
3 yards for 3 feet for a yard. So,
Okay.
60 feet away. That's not right. 90 feet.
That's not right. So he's just going to break into a jog, and then when he gets to 60 feet away, he's going to poof, poof, and appear into the boat with his hammer in his hand next to this thing.
So you appear right in front of it, behind it? What?
Behind it, if possible, yeah.
Yeah, you appear behind it, and it sort of just is standing there, hunched, like looking at where you were, and then it sort of turns around, and you just see this mass of what look like dreadlocks. They're actually tendrils. You can't see the face of this individual, but is wearing this rotten, horrible black cloak. Almost kind of scaly hands coming from its robe. And as it lifts one of its hands, you can see that scales from it have rotted. And it sort of produces its hand and does that and says, "Pay the tax."
No. What are you? What is this? What's happening?
God
Where does this boat go?
Arius, you son of a bitch.
Ugh! And he like just takes off charging after it. Charging after Marius, trying to get to him because he realizes that like Marius has set himself up for putting himself in danger. Right? Like you went ahead of us, Misty stepped into like this situation now, and like once again Taxes has to basically be like, God damn it, I have to save your ass.
And you can see Taxes pelting as fast as he can at you, Marius, but he's not going to get to you in time. He's too far away, because this individual, this scale, this sort of all of these horrible kind of tendrils, rotted hands reaching towards you. And then the voice says, "Pay the tax."
Listen to me. I don't know what you are. I don't know what the tax is. I don't know anything about this place. You need to explain to me what the tax is, how much I need to pay you. Is it gold you're after? Is it blood?
There is enough of both here. I require something else, something more personal. Think back. How have you been taxed?
So Marius immediately gets the impression that this is some sort of witchcraft, some sort of trick. He thinks, like wheels turning in his head, of taxes, and that he is called taxes, and that he doesn't remember anything anymore. And so Marius is going to just think, ba 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 da ba 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 da ba ba. He's just going to like focus on not thinking about anything while he like looks at this thing.
And as you're trying to put up these mental shields, your mind goes back to a time in a witch hunter training regime, taught over and over again to block your thoughts, to not let the arcane batter down the doors of your mind. But you can feel memories almost trying to claw their way into your, into your mind's eye. You can feel it happening. And it's almost like this individual in front of you is reaching out, trying to coax something from you. Something that belongs to you, something that is part of your experience, something that is part of your soul, your memories.
Marius will shout, "You will not have it!" And he's going to push out with his fist to just like push it back and maybe break the thought process, whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask you to check because that's badass. And you can still see Taxis is gunning it like towards you, still not close enough. There is almost like a push, like a radiant shine from you as you have to put into a hammer, for example. Sort of reels back. If you will not pay the tax, you cannot cross. Taxes, you're gunning it. Azarax and Lise, what are you doing? Are you following or?
I imagine that when Lise asked the witch hunter if he's too scared to get on the boat, I imagine that there's like an audible snort that comes from Azarax, like a spit gag. He's like, and then Marius, like clockwork, flashes out of existence over there. He just moans and starts making his way. We better get over there quick. And I think that he will. He's not going to turn his back on Lise, though. He'll approach, but as long as she approaches with him,
she would probably outpace you, moving maybe 70 feet around. I think it is when she's dashing.
She would indeed.
You can hear her just muttering under her breath, "Fucking men always having to prove themselves, fuckers."
Amazing. Taxes, you're hurling towards this cloaked figure who has kind of reeled back from Marius. And he repeats again, "You will not cross if you do not pay the tax." And once more reaches out a hand towards you, Marius.
"I will not pay." "These thoughts are mine. They belong to me, not to you, not for whatever profane ritual this requires, the crossing of water." He looks at the water, and he thinks he wasn't wearing his plate, he would jump in, but he is. And so he looks at it for a second and thinks, "I'll find another way across."
It's then the attacks as you charge up, and the figure turns to face you almost immediately as you arrive, like boom, like, and you're face to face with this thing. You can't see anything other than the black glints of what might be eyes on either side of this head, behind this hood, and it says to you, "You have already paid," and gestures at the boat.
Yeah. Go figure. These are my friends, companions.
We are all the sum of our memories. Only one is required.
Feels like you took everything from me. So, I think I've paid the equivalent for at least the 4 of them to go. What do you think?
The creature sort of twists its head almost inquisitively at you, looking you up and down. He says, "There is truth to these words. You have paid dearly." The creature sort of spins its head and it looks towards you, Marius, and says, "He has paid for you a debt." And with that, it turns around and it walks onto the boat.
More than once, Marius calls after him.
Sorry, mate, I missed that.
Marius calls after him that taxes is paid for Marius more than once.
And it kind of pauses at the top of the ramp, sort of looks down at you, and just sort of does that with its head and climbs onto the boat. Lise, Azarax, you've arrived sort of as this is sort of being finalized, as it were. Is there anything you want to do before you climb on? If you want to climb on, I mean, Marius is right. This is weird. This feels wrong. This feels strange. The river is completely shrouded by this mist.
I imagine Azarax is panting, the by far the last one to show up. And as he walks up the ramp, he steps onto the ramp. He looks around at the scene. Boatkeeper.
It turns and looks at you.
Oh, where does your boat take us?
You find yourself in the realm of Daggerfang.
Okay. I mean, is there a reason we should take your boat and not just, we're powerful warriors and wizards. Why should we not just conjure our own and cross?
You will not make it.
Why is that?
Many have tried. All fail. You must all pay a tax.
What sort of tax?
He looks over to taxes. It has already been paid.
Isarax, in his mind, he flashes back to the wall, scrawled on the wall, death and taxes. He doesn't say anything else and just steps onto the boat.
Lisa's walks almost in step with Azarax up the ramp. And she's thinking, hearing most of that exchange, understanding that Texas doesn't have his memories. And she remembers her mother and a lullaby that she sang. And there's a deep pang of sadness when she looks at Taxes and thinks that he just has emptiness, where she has light and love. And she gets on the boat.
Take a point of inspiration. My God. Good stuff. Marius, did you say you got on the boat? I don't want to like force your hand and say you're on the boat.
I had
You're
like
on the boat.
behind
Okay,
him, so
just checking. So this individual, and I mean, I'd like you to imagine this is almost like an Arthurian kind of long ship, you know, the kind like in Holy Grail or whatever. There's the pristine, clear, blackish water, this mist curling across it, and this boat, this ship, miniature kind of ship, I suppose, kind of glides out across the water. You can see that there are sails upon this thing, but there is kind of like rotted, the sails are kind of rotted away, and this individual's actually using a large stick as if this is like a gondola, dipping it into the water and pushing from the very back of the boat. And it's almost like you feel like you're about to be swallowed by this mist. It's freezing as it touches your face. It's ice cold. I would like all of you to make a perception check, please. Okay. It's a perception check, Chad. So you just missed it. It wasn't a particularly high one. But at least you're the first one to spot that you are seeing in the water glimpses of what look like people. You look harder and you swear you see a face of a moon elf split in half by the impact of a hammer. But Taxes, your sight focuses on someone else. And you see the Nightmare Shrine. And you see Card Kilgannon. And then he is gone again. And the boatman is at the back, sort of muttering, "They all pay."
I imagine that Azarax would respond. He's probably looking out at the majestic landscape. Unbeknownst to him, the visages of the dead peering back through the water. And when the boatman says that, to whom does the tax go?
Why, it is to our great protector.
As I'm sure you can tell, we are strangers in this land. Please, let us know who is this lord.
You are not all strangers here. He is our salvation. All must pay.
Taxes listens. Just listens. He's sitting almost on the front of the boat, looking down in the water, and he just sort of the boatman and what he has to say. He's just closing his eyes every now and then and trying to gain semblance of memory. What happened here? Why did all of his memories, for the most part, all of them, get washed away? Because it would make sense that if it was just for the boat, that a single memory would be used to be taxed and taken for passage between the boat and beyond. That's fine. What he doesn't understand is why we're taking anything rather about his past. If anything that he says, like when he says great protector, sparks a memory or sparks something that he like holds on to.
I'll tell you what you can do for me, Taxes. Roll a Constitution saving throw. All of a sudden, it is like your mind is eclipsed into a maelstrom of pain. You arc back. It is as if something is burrowing into your mind. And you see just a flash of the writing, death and taxes, the blood garishly illuminated by this powerful light streaming at your back. With all of your might, with all of your courage, you attempt to fight off an invasive force, but you can't. And then you're back on the boat. The rest of you just spot Taxes kind of like... It's almost like he spasms and goes into shock. And he hits the ground. And I'm afraid, I'm really sorry, but this has to be done. You take 8 points of psychic damage as well. As this feeling sort of racks you at your core. What's running through Marius's mind as you see Taxes be sort of succumbs to this, whatever's going on with him?
He rushes towards this dude that's paddling the boat. He's going to rush up behind him and grab the back of his head. What are you doing?
And you sort of grab him, but it's almost like he's insubstantial. Like you can't quite grab a hold of him. He's there, but he's also not there at the same time. And you're sort of pulling at the ropes, but it doesn't seem to be like having any effect to him whatsoever. And he turns around and he says, "I am doing my sworn duty. This is not my doing." As Marius is doing that, then I guess Azarax, Lise, what are you up to? What are you doing?
So Taxes just like falls over having like a conniption fit, right?
Yeah.
I imagine Azrax is probably asking questions and getting quizzical answers from the boatman, and he hears that thump, and he'd run over and look down. It will become immediately apparent to Lise that Azrax doesn't really know what to do in this situation, but he'll reach down and start trying to feel for a pulse. That's about it.
Yeah, it's at that point that you're sort of reaching for a pulse, still not really knowing what to do. It's when Tax's eyes open again, and Tax, as you see the visor veritor sort of Azarax over you, you're back in the room, as they say.
Azrax comes back. He's seen Taxes wake up in a tizzy before. He leaps away from him.
He just like kind of claws at the boat a little bit, flailing a bit, and then he's driven. He is angry and he is pissed off, and it's like anything that gets in his way, he's just going to motor through it as he starts to like and just like Marius, where he's trying to grab a hold of this boatman, you see that angry Dragonborn like walk to the back of the boat and try to almost choke grab this dude.
What are you doing? What are you doing to me?
And it's as you sort of launch at him, your clenched or rather grabbing claw-like hand reaches forward as Marius is sort of struggling with this rope, just trying to get purchase on this thing, and you put your arm straight through this thing. And then the robes just sort of and just disappear into nothing as boom, the boat hits a shoreline. The creature is gone. And so has the mist. You see before you, arcing up into the air, is this long, sweeping hill-like landscape. And at the top there is what appears to be a structure that can only be described as half fortress, half mountain. It is this colossal structure that appears to have been shaped from one piece of rock, jutting out of this huge mountain in the distance. And as you see this, I would like you all to make a dexterity saving throw, please. I think we lost Chad as well.
Yeah, it's my blinking eye. Oh, it's not blinking. I got a nat.
Oh no, Chad's there. That's weird.
Chad, we can't see your video.
We can't see you, man.
Oh, I turned it down to audio only because I was getting really bad feedback.
Yeah, you've been crackling a little bit, man. No, that's okay. That's fine. I was just checking.
So I turned it down to audio only, but I'm here. So
no, that's perfect.
just letting you know.
Just checking. Okay. So unfortunately, you are all able to hurl yourself out of the way, apart from Marius. There is a splintering of wood as something incredibly large and heavy flies out of the sky and lands directly next to you. The impact cracks the wood, and Marius, you are thrown onto your back, and looking up, you see this absolutely ginormous figure, must be over 8 feet tall, wings spreading from its back, a draconic face staring down upon you with a glaive pointed at your throat. "What are you?" the creature says. And that is where we're going to take a short break, because I need to go to the toilet. So we'll just say it's a really short break, 2 minutes, guys, and we will return to see what the hell is going on.
Sounds good.
There we go. I'm back. How are we all doing? Quite a few people watching. Hello, everyone. Thank you ever so much for joining us here today. Taylor, you're back. How's it going? How are you finding it?
Awesome.
You've just sort of you haven't missed a beat. Do you know what I mean? It's quite impressive.
I've watched a lot of Lorekeepers.
That'll do it. They're very wary of you, which I quite enjoy. They're like, what the fuck?
No, it makes perfect sense. I'm
It
always...
does make perfect sense.
My immersion is broken in a campaign where they're like, oh, and you meet this stranger in a tavern, and oh, hey, let's go adventure together. You'll be our new BFF.
That's good. I don't know you from anyone, but yeah, come with me. Let's go. Yeah.
Like if you were playing this character, Rob, if she was an NPC, this is how we would act, which I think is important because just because it's a person on camera doesn't make it any less weird for the characters,
No, I completely agree. Yeah, no, and it's fun.
I could still secretly be a doppelganger.
Yeah.
I was thinking that. I was like, what a great twist that would have been.
Uh-oh. Is it me?
I thought it was me.
Oh, phew.
I thought I'd frozen.
Oh no, I froze. Shit.
Yep.
No, you're there. Look, I can hear you. Just Rob has vanished.
Okay. Damn it.
That's not good.
I'm about to shit mince this dragon, man. He has made the mistake of landing on me. Bad call.
Lloyd's just waiting for it. He's been waiting all game to kill a motherfucker.
Gotta express my feelings through violence.
Must hit something.
I can't say I'm sad. I just have to kill something.
Oh man, come on, Rob. You can do it.
I bet you his computer has crashed. This happened recently, didn't it? When did that happen? Was it Vampire? Yeah, it was. His computer crashed me. I had to like start a new stream.
Oh, that's
right. What
I
game
didn't
was
watch
that?
the second half of that one.
Yep, there we go. Well, stay with us, folks. We'll be right back, I guess.
I want to do it. Come on, Rob. We got 5 minutes. Isn't that what it is? Like 5 minutes, or it stops.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're all secretly rooting for Rob's internet to come back fast.
He said he'll be right back. I saw a message. All right.
I told my husband that I was replacing Barker. He goes, Barker? I was like, yep.
I think you're doing great. I think it's awesome. I mean, and I'm glad. I feel like it's a very different character than we've seen too, like a different type of character, which is awesome. It's like a glimpse at another part of the world, and like I think it's great.
Yo, are you the goddamn king? This is some bullshit. I want to be the king.
You know what's so funny? I was thinking to myself, I was like, probably Marius is the fucking king. That's what I was thinking.
God, that would be the worst.
He would be an exceptionally useful king. He would be a
You're
great
so
king.
cynical. You'd be a terrible king.
Yeah.
No
Really
hope,
effective
no
king, though.
happiness. You'd be really effective, just super cynical and salty all the time.
What do you need for a king? You don't need to be nice. You need them to govern well.
He'd be a fucking shitbag of a king. Are you kidding?
Listen, man, tyranny works, all right?
I mean, it's worked for Farwide so far, so I guess you're right.
Yeah.
There needs to be another God King. I shall
Exactly.
be it.
Yep.
The new God King. And then there'll be a massive fight between God King and God King.
Yeah,
And
I'll be the God Emperor because it sounds better. It sounds more
the
important.
God Emperor.
Yeah.
You're gonna turn into Marius turns into Darth Vader now? Is this what's happening?
Super God Emperor.
Azrax is going to rule the Magisterium. He's going to be the highest echelon in the Magisterium, which is known as the Rat Lord of the Magisterium. I am the Rat Lord Azrax. Bow before me and kiss my arse. Oh, man.
This has been fun so far. Not gonna lie, this has been crazy cool.
It's cool, man. I can't wait to fucking find some Taxes shit out, man. I feel like it's happening, and like, you know, a bomb is gonna get dropped.
I feel like so far, I feel like I'm gonna screw something up. Like, here's the thing. This is the point where cool stuff's gonna happen, but I feel like I'm gonna screw stuff up. Where I'm gonna say something or I'm gonna do something, and where like reward might happen, where like, cool, you're gonna survive this scenario. I'm gonna do something, and they're like, Dragonborn, you don't belong here anymore. Ba-da-da-da-da.
Now you can trust that it'll be me who like messes up the diplomatic by hitting someone, almost certainly.
Well, I mean, you did that already in the Drow Empire. We already know that. Like, you walked into you walked into like fucking. Also, was just like, fuck off.
I feel like actually, for that one, I feel like Marius was like the most courteous of all of us. Like, I feel like
true, yeah.
he was just fucking talking jive and trying to fuck with the High Matron.
I just feel like Marius is tired, like really tired of like the never-ending stream of shit they have to go through. You know, just like I would like a break. I would like to just like
Marius is turning into the Bruce Willis of this campaign. He is literally turning into the John McClane. Like, God damn it, son of a bitch.
Too old for this shit.
I was gonna say this motherfucker's going Lethal Weapon on this shit, man.
Yep.
By the end of the campaign, like Marius has a giant white beard. He turns into fucking Sauron from Lord of the Rings.